Most of you are moving too fast to be rich. You think speed equals progress. You've been conditioned to believe that if you're not in constant motion, you're falling behind. But in the quantum field, high-velocity stress creates something I call perceptual blur, a frequency interference that makes high-value opportunities completely invisible to you. You are like a radio scanning stations so quickly that you never actually hear the music. The signal is there. The opportunity is broadcasting. But your receiver is moving at a velocity that makes stable connection impossible. Today, I will teach you the art of deceleration, the counterintuitive strategy that transforms you from a chaser of wealth into a gravitational well for capital. I am Elias Voss, and today we examine a principle that will feel wrong to every instinct you've developed in the modern economy. Wealth isn't caught by those who chase. It is captured by those who provide a stable enough frequency for it to land. We are exploring why slowing your internal tempo is the most aggressive financial move you can make. Not passive, not lazy, aggressive, because in a world addicted to speed, the ability to maintain stillness is the ultimate competitive advantage. This is the science of quantum stillness. The principle that maximum detectivity requires minimum noise. And right now, your internal noise is costing you millions. Let's deconstruct the motion trap. You've confused kinetic stress with quantum momentum. They are not the same. Kinetic stress is movement without direction, burning energy, creating heat, going nowhere. It's the hamster wheel. And here's what they don't tell you. Even a golden wheel will shatter if you run on it desperately enough. Quantum momentum is entirely different. It's aligned direction, coherent force. You might be moving slowly, but every ounce of energy is vectored toward a specific outcome. No waste, no scatter, pure efficiency, and the quantum field can feel the difference. Hustle culture has trained you to interpret motion as virtue and stillness as failure. But here's the truth they're not saying. Hustle culture is actually a defense mechanism against the fear of lack. When you're moving frantically, you don't have to face the terror of stopping. You don't have to confront the question, am I enough without the performance of constant motion? And here's the quantum cost. When the mind is frantic, your signal-to-noise ratio collapses. You're broadcasting so much static, anxiety, hurry, desperation, that high-level wealth data cannot penetrate your awareness. The opportunities are there. They're broadcasting on a frequency that requires stillness to detect. But your receiver is creating too much interference. This is measurable. In a high-velocity state, your ability to detect subtle patterns, the kind that indicate major opportunities, drops by an order of magnitude. You become functionally blind to everything except threats and immediate demand. You're operating in survival mode, which is neurologically incompatible with wealth detection. The market rewards velocity in execution, but it rewards stillness in perception. You need to see the opportunity before you can execute on it, and you cannot see clearly while vibrating at panic frequency. Let me show you the physics of wealth capture through gravitational resonance. In space, massive objects create what Einstein called a gravitational well, a curvature in spacetime itself. Objects don't have to be caught. They naturally fall toward the mass. This is not force. This is geometry. You become a gravitational well for capital by increasing your energetic mass through coherence and decreasing your volatility through stillness. When your broadcast is stable, coherent, and powerful, wealth doesn't have to be chased. It falls toward you along the natural gradient you've created. This is the principle of wealth capture versus wealth attraction. High-velocity stress might attract money. You might get paid for frantic work, but you cannot host it, cannot retain it, cannot compound it, because large amounts of capital require energetic stability to settle. If your frequency is volatile, money passes through you like water through a sieve. The data shows this pattern everywhere. People operating at high velocity can generate income, but they cannot build wealth. Something about their energetic instability creates constant expense, constant crisis, constant leakage. They're earning and losing at equal rates, sometimes earning more but losing more. They never achieve escape velocity because their hosting capacity is too low. Quantum stillness is not about being passive. It's about creating the internal conditions necessary for wealth to settle, root, and compound. You can be externally active, making deals, building systems, executing strategy. But if your internal state is chaotic, you'll never achieve wealth capture. You'll be stuck in the exhausting cycle of constant attraction and constant loss. This is what I call a frequency anchor. The ability to remain internally unshakable while external markets fluctuate. The market will always create volatility, fear, urgency, chaos. That's its nature. But if you allow external chaos to create internal chaos, you've lost before you've begun. You're being moved by forces instead of moving with strategy. The wealthy don't experience calm markets. They experience the same chaos you do. The difference is their frequency anchor. They've trained themselves to maintain internal stillness regardless of external motion. This isn't emotional suppression. This is energetic sovereignty. The refusal to let external volatility determine internal state. You cannot build an empire on a foundation of panic. Physics doesn't allow it. Massive structures require stable ground. And your consciousness is the ground upon which your wealth will either scatter or compound. Now comes the practice. The Voss deceleration protocol. 3 stages of progressive velocity reduction that transform you from a chaser into a gravitational well. Stage 1. Internal tempo audit. For 3 minutes each morning, you observe the velocity of your own thoughts without trying to change them. You're not meditating. You're diagnosing. How fast are your thoughts moving? How much space exists between them? Where is the rush coming from? Most people have never actually observed their own mental velocity. They've been thinking at panic speed for so long, they've forgotten what calm consciousness feels like. And what you'll discover is uncomfortable. Most of your velocity isn't strategic. It's compensatory. You're moving fast to outrun a feeling, usually unworthiness. The audit makes this conscious, and consciousness is where change becomes possible. Stage 2. The observation gap. Before every major financial decision, signing, investing, committing, declining, you insert 3 seconds of stillness. Not thinking, not analyzing, just observing. 3 seconds where you breathe and allow your system to detect what your velocity was covering up. In those 3 seconds, your intuition can surface. Your pattern recognition can activate. Your deeper intelligence, the part that processes at 11 million bits per second, has space to inform your conscious choice. This isn't hesitation. This is strategic deceleration. And the data is clear. The 3-second gap increases decision quality by an order of magnitude. Stage 3. Frequency anchoring. You establish a wealth baseline, a stable frequency that does not depend on the day's tasks, wins, or losses. This is your energetic floor. External events can happen on the upper levels of your consciousness, but they don't disturb the foundation. You set this anchor first thing each morning, before the market opens, before the emails arrive, before external demands begin pulling you. 90 seconds where you establish the frequency you'll broadcast regardless of what the day brings. You're not affirming outcomes. You're stabilizing your baseline. And when you maintain this anchor throughout the day, when you refuse to let external volatility determine your internal frequency, something remarkable happens. You stop bleeding energy to circumstances. You stop getting pulled into other people's panic. You remain a stable point in a chaotic field. And stable points attract capital. Precision requires the correct tempo. Too fast, and the mechanism fails. Too slow, and it stops. Wealth operates on the same principle. There is an optimal velocity, and it's far slower than what you've been taught. The world will tell you to hurry. Every notification, every headline, every competitor, all designed to create the feeling of urgency, the panic of falling behind. But I am telling you to arrive, not to rush, to arrive, with precision, with clarity, with the kind of calm that only comes from refusing to be moved by forces designed to destabilize you. Slow down until you can see the patterns that everyone else is missing. The opportunities invisible at high velocity become obvious in stillness. The connections that scatter when you chase them settle when you stabilize. The capital that evades the desperate finds its way to the sovereign. The gold is in the stillness. It's always been there. You just couldn't see it through the noise of your own velocity. But now you know, deceleration isn't retreat. It's strategic repositioning. It's refusing to compete on speed and instead dominating on depth. Tonight, you begin the audit. 3 minutes. Observe your internal velocity without judgment. Tomorrow morning, you establish your anchor. 90 seconds. Set your baseline before the world makes demands. And then, throughout your day, you practice the observation gap. 3 seconds before major decisions. 3 practices, 96 seconds total across the entire day. That's all. But those 96 seconds of intentional deceleration will create more wealth than 1,000 hours of panicked velocity ever could. Subscribe to the Voss method and learn to master the tempo of abundance. The next transmission deconstructs the scarcity addiction, why most people are unconsciously loyal to poverty despite claiming they want wealth. But that's only for those who've already begun to slow down enough to see it. I am Elias Voss, and your deceleration begins today.